Hi everyone, welcome to Making Things with String. My name is Kate, my pronouns are she, her, and this is my crafty YouTube channel. I have some wonderful crafty updates for you today, some cross stitch as usual, but I've also got some knitting, some crochet, some sewing, and some latch hook. And I also have the winners from my giveaway from my last video. So let's start with that. In my last video, I was celebrating 500 subscribers. Again, thank you so much to anyone who's subscribed, but also thank you if you're just chilling and lurking and watching. I'm totally happy with that as well. But yeah, I had a little giveaway last video of 3 items. So the first item was this beautiful skein of yarn from Nerds with Needles, a Canada themed skein of yarn, a beautiful fingering weight blend of extra fine merino, cashmere, and nylon. And the code word to win this beautiful skein of yarn was Canada. And the winner of that, I'll put your comment up here on the screen as well. The winner of that was Nicole C2523. So congratulations, Nicole. You have won this beautiful skein of yarn, assuming that you live in Canada, which is where I am willing to ship this skein of yarn. I would love to commend you on your masterful wordplay in your comment, incorporating all of the keywords seamlessly into your comment. Very good, very well done. And so I will comment on your comment, letting you know that you won and that you can reach out to me. Send me an email, makingthingswithstring@gmail.com, or you can message me on Instagram if you follow me there. And then I'll be getting your mailing address from you so I can mail it to you. So congratulations, Nicole C. The next item was 2 beautiful skeins of Roxy Flosco floss in this no longer available colorway called Brass Tacks. I've got 2  8-yard skeins here. The keyword for that was brass. And the winner of those 2 beautiful skeins is I See a Distant Light. So congratulations to you. You have won the beautiful Brass Tacks Roxy Flosco skeins of yarn. Thank you so much for your kind compliment about Needs No Paint. I really appreciate it. Same thing for you. I will comment on your comment to make sure that you get notified that you've won, and do send me an email or a message on Instagram so that we can chat and I can get your mailing address so that I can send those to you. Last but not least, I'm giving away this chart, The Art of Living and Banks by 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers. Beautiful reproduction sampler. And the winner of this is Aspen Stitcher. So congratulations to you. You have won this. So please go ahead and like I mentioned for the others, send me an email, makingthingswithstring@gmail.com, or message me on Instagram and I will send that along to you. Thank you as well for your comment. Have you started kitting up or stitching the Lakota Seas Blue yet? That's another chart by Jill Clare, and I know maybe you haven't yet, that's okay, but I'm definitely interested to hear about it when you do, so let me know how that's going. Or maybe you'll kit up Anne Banks, The Art of Living. Okay, awesome. So that was really fun. Like I said, I don't do a whole ton of giveaways on my channel, but that was a lot of fun. So congratulations to the winners. So in a lot of Flosstube videos that I see, people always talk about their cross stitch first and then follow it up with random other crafts under the assumption that people who are watching are primarily interested in cross stitch. I think I'm going to talk about my other crafts first in this video. but I do have my video time stamped. So if you are perhaps not interested in hearing about crafts other than cross stitch, just go ahead and scrub through the video until you see a section that's called cross stitch, and you can jump around to whatever you're interested in. The first thing that I want to talk about is my latch hook project. So I took a little sort of overhead clip of that earlier, demonstrating how it's done and talking a little bit about the project. So I will insert that here for your viewing pleasure. Hi everyone. I just wanted to take a little clip here and show off a new sort of craft that I've been working on recently, something that I haven't shown on my channel before. This is a latch hook kit right here that I recently picked up at Michael's. Latch hooking is something that I remember from when I was very young. It's something that my grandmother used to do a lot. And I remember her doing these latch hook rugs. I remember her showing me how to do these little stitches, working with this little tool. And recently I was given a bunch of my grandmother's old crafting stuff. So some, knitting supplies, some crochet hooks, sewing box, etc. But I also asked if her latch hook stuff was still around, and not only did she have 2 of these hooks, one of which actually belonged to my great-grandfather, her father, who used to do this kind of craft as well. But she also had a beautiful big stand to do these latch hook rugs on. I'll insert a picture. I had this project set up on that stand just to kind of see that I had set it up correctly, but obviously it's made for a much bigger rug, which hopefully someday I will make use of. Definitely would like to do that. But before getting started on a gigantic rug, after not having done this craft for years and years and years and years, I thought I would just see where locally I might be able to get a little latch hook rug kit. And I found some kits at Michael's. This is the one that I got. It's a Wonder Art kit. I chose this little owl pattern because it reminded me of a latch hook kit that Jen from Jen's Fiberweb showed on one of her most recent videos. So it's just so funny when life does that thing where stuff just kind of comes together at the same time. And so Jen talked about latch hooking in her last video, and I was like, oh my god, I remember my grandmother doing latch hooking. And then my aunt messaged me asking if I would like to have any of my grandmother's old crafting stuff, and I said yes. Is her latch hook stuff there? Yes. And my parents were coming this past weekend, and brought it all for me. And then, we went to Michael's and picked up this cute little kit. So Jen of Jen's Fiberweb is doing a owl latch hook kit. So I chose this little owl in Jen's honor. So thank you for the inspiration, Jen. And as you can see, I have been working on this cute little kit quite a bit. So this is a 12-inch by 12-inch little latch hook rug kit. And I'm very near the end. So I just have 3 more rows to do up at the top, all in this tealy blue color. So it's been really fun. Today is Thursday, and I started this on Sunday. I've just been doing a little bit of it every day, a few times a day. And this is what it's looking like. I'll show you the back as well. And then I'm gonna actually do a little bit of latch hooking. So you can actually see the pattern quite a bit better on the back here. More clearly, I guess. That's what it looks like from the back of the work. And once again, here it is. All the nice rugginess from the front. Okay, so I'm gonna put this maybe about here. And then I'm gonna get, this is what is left of the little packets of yarn that come with these kits. Mine, like Jen's, came with like a little bit of each color of yarn in 3 different packets like this. I just have the one color left in here because that's the only color I have left to work on. And yeah, they're just individual little short strands of acrylic wool, in this case, acrylic yarn, I guess. So let me show you how this works. So I'm going to take one of my little strands and my latch hook. I'm going to make sure, so this little latch hook toggles open and close like this. So I'm going to make sure it's open to start with. And I like to hold my little piece of yarn on there like this. Then we're going to come up and do the next stitch. I just do it row by row from left to right and from bottom to top. So I'm just going to go under this little double parallel strand of canvas or thread, and then we're going to push it so that this little latch hook comes through and sits on top like that. Then I'm going to line up the ends of the yarn like this. I'm going to pull it up and through between the hook and the latch, and as you kind of pull down on the hook, it's going to close that latch up. So now it's sort of secured together, and then I just pull that through and you end up with this little knot. And then I always tighten it up a little bit, trying to make sure that the ends are relatively even and that it's pretty snug, nice and tight. And that is how you do one little stitch, and we just keep doing that over and over again. So I'm holding the little piece of yarn here with my forefinger on my right hand, putting the hook under that stitch until the latch is through. Oops. Then I'm lining up these 2 ends and pulling both of them together so that they're going behind and between the hook and the latch, trapping them like this, pulling down and through, and then tightening it up a little bit. So that is how it goes, and I've just got 3 more rows to do like this, so I might just do this for a little bit longer. And talk a little bit about the latch hooking. So yeah, I've got a beautiful new stand now that I can use to help me work on a large project. And yeah, I've been kind of looking into that. I've seen online some places where you can buy fully kitted up kits of larger rugs, something that you might actually put on the floor. I'm looking for something to go kind of under the coffee tables in our living room, our upstairs and downstairs living rooms, like TV room and upstairs living room. So I would like for them to be like quite big rugs, which means that the kits I'm finding are generally quite expensive. In Canadian dollars, I've been seeing ones that I like that are like, I don't know, 150, 160, that kind of thing, which is probably cheaper than buying a rug, but it's also, it's still just like pretty expensive, and not really something I want to, these are like websites that I've never purchased from before, so I'm not entirely sure like what the quality of those kits are going to be like. So I'm kind of hesitant to do that. But I've been doing a little bit of searching online and on YouTube, and I've learned kind of some good techniques for cutting your own yarn. So just for some techniques for cutting a bunch of little strands of yarn the same length. And I think that that's actually not a very difficult process, something that I could probably do. And this kit here that I have is a little bit dissimilar from some other kits that I've seen. So I've seen printed canvas latch hook kits where the color, like the pattern, is printed on this canvas, whereas what I've got, let me do this. What I've got is a separate chart that I'm stitching onto this sort of blank canvas that just has like a 10 by 10 grid. This blue line here delineates a 10 by 10 grid of stitches, and it looks very similar. I'll just show you a little corner. See how it's just a bunch of different little squares? It looks very similar to a cross stitch pattern. So I'm thinking I could either find a latch hook pattern of a rug that I like and just buy that. That would be a lot cheaper, and then I can just source the fabric and the yarn myself. And or I could probably design a pattern myself, just based on kind of looking at some inspiration images of some rugs and kind of trying to design something myself. So I don't know how soon I'll be doing any of that, but those are some ideas that I have for future latch hook projects. I'm wondering, yeah, so like I know my grandmother, some of the rugs that she did were decorative and they hung on the wall, but she did have some that she put on the ground, not usually in high traffic areas, but definitely used as rugs. I'm just wondering like how well this sort of thing would stand up over time, and in particular how I would keep it clean. We have a lot of pets, you may or may not have noticed. I've got 2 cats and a dog right now. So there's a lot of hair in our house, and so I kind of need to be able to vacuum anything that I'm going to put on the floor. So I'm just not sure if this style of rug is going to stand up very well to being vacuumed. I guess I could try it out on a small rug that I do. But yeah, this has just been a lot of fun, very meditative. Just one row at a time. And I'm almost done this cute little decorative piece. I think I might hang it up in my office when I'm done. So yeah, I've just done all of these little stitches here, and I think that's where I will leave it for this little clip. But as you can see, I'm very close to being done. I'll probably finish this up and then I'll be able to show you the fully finished piece when I record my video later. So yeah, hopefully you found that interesting, and let me know if you have any questions about this latch hook process. Let me know if you've ever done a latch hook rug before. It's a lot of fun. And as indicated in that clip, I am now finished this cute little latch hook owl kit. So I still have to refresh my memory / learn how to fully finish this into something that I can hang, but all of the cute little yarn stitches have been completed on this, so that's what it looks like now. Yeah. Looking forward to doing some more of this. We'll see. I'm not sure when. I'm not like purchasing a new kit right now or anything, but this is what we've got. Cute little owl. All right, so next up I want to talk about a knitting project that I cast on since my last video. I have a pair of socks that I've been working on as well. I'm not going to show those. It's my fairly standard sock pattern, so once that pair is done, I'll show it. But I cast on a new cowl. This pattern is called Kaylin Mai. It's by Kristen Lehrer of Wollenbein Yarns, who is an amazing yarn dyer, but she's also got a really great YouTube channel where she talks about her own crafty endeavors, including knitting and a lot of other fun crafts too. So if you happen to not have heard of Kristen, definitely check out her YouTube channel as well. But she's also a pattern designer, and knitting patterns in particular, I know for sure. And I chose this yarn pattern this knitting pattern, because I was looking for a pattern that included mohair held double with another strand of thin yarn, and a pattern that made use of beads, because I had a package of these size 6 Mill Hill beads, and I wanted to use them in a knitting project. And I also had this skein of yarn, this mohair, which I purchased in St. John's, Newfoundland this summer when I was visiting there with a friend. So this yarn is from Windswept Fibers and Designs. It's hand dyed in Newfoundland and Labrador. The yarn is called the Finest Kind Fluff. So it's a 53% super baby alpaca, 34% silk, 13% cashmere. Really, really beautiful skein of yarn. And I wanted to hold this double with this skein of creamy lace weight yarn that I do not have the information about, but I purchased it last year during Sock Madness, because we had a sock that required a lace weight of yarn. If I can find the information in one of my previous videos about this skein of yarn, I will include it here on the screen or in the description below. But it's a skein of yarn that I bought here in Halifax, and yeah, it's a really nice creamy color that I think complements this fluffy baby alpaca yarn really well. So I've never done this knitting with 2 strands before, and I have never knitted with beads before. So this cowl is looking like this. It's looking a little small right now because I've got it on some small circumference needles, so it's sort of squished together, but let me see if I can spread it out a bit to give you an idea of what it will look like when it's sort of blocked out. And maybe as well, we can use my top-down camera. Yeah, to get a good look at this. That's much better. So you can see the little beads coming in. And this is what the pattern looks like. So there's some 3x3 ribbing at the bottom, and then this beautiful, quite simple to stitch design, and then there will be ribbing again at the top. And then you can see here I'm holding these 2 strands of yarn together to knit that. Oops, let's not drop some stitches. There we go. I have this cute little bird stitch marker as well. Let's see if I can get you a good look at that. There we go. It's so cute. Sometimes it gets stuck in the knitting a little bit, but so this is like super squishy and luxurious feeling. It's so soft and squishy, and it's so light and airy. Like the color is so subtle. And I'm really loving it. You can't, I don't know if you can really get a feel for like the halo. I call it a halo. This sort of like fuzziness that comes off a knitted fabric like this with like a mohair like, or this, I guess this one's not really mohair, it's like got alpaca, but it gives it this like fuzzy halo, this like softness, visual softness. Anyways, I am really loving this. And I thought I would talk a little bit too about how to do this beading. I'll link a tutorial from Kristen that I watched to learn how to do it. But essentially, you take a very teeny tiny crochet hook. This is a size 1.25 millimeter crochet hook. In her video, she actually recommends a 1.15 millimeter crochet hook. But I got this one in the gear from my grandmother, and it seemed to fit through most of the beads that I had. So I just have been using this. So you take this tiny crochet hook and you put a bead onto it, and then you take a stitch, the stitch that you want to place a bead on, you like pull it off of the needle momentarily, push the bead from here onto the stitch, and then put it back on, and then knit it as normal. And that's how these little beads are placed onto the knitting. So cute. Yeah, very delicate, like dainty knitting project. I'm really enjoying it. It's super fun to knit. I'm a little over halfway done at this point. So that's my fun little knitting project that I'm a little bit obsessed with right now. And like I said, it's the pattern. There's a few rows that require a little bit more attention than others, but overall, it's quite easy to knit. So hopefully by my next video I'll be done and I can try it on for you. All right. Okay, so next up I would like to talk about a little crochet project that I've started since my last video. And the idea for this crochet project was not mine. It was my friend Jill's, who watches and comments on every single one of my cross-stitch videos, even though she herself is not a cross-stitcher. But she is a wonderful friend. She's an artist. And for some reason, she really likes watching my videos. So Jill, love you, and thank you for watching all of my videos. And thank you for thinking of me when you saw an ad on Facebook from our local health authority, Nova Scotia Health Authority Hospital, sort of sending out the request to local crafters for lapgans, which is a term that I had never really heard before, but it's a small little afghan that's meant to just go over your lap. In particular, it is sized appropriately to fit nicely in a wheelchair. And they use these lapgans a lot for patients who are undergoing things like chemotherapy, who need to kind of hang out for a while and want a nice warm blanket to wear over them while they are doing this waiting. Jill has crocheted before. She had yarn and even some crochet hooks, but it had been like years, I think, since she had done any crochet. So she asked if I would like to make one of these lapgans with her, and I said yes, of course. And so I found some yarn as well at my place, went over to her place, and visited with her and her doggies, and her husband Arnell, and her kitty cat, 7. And we got going on these crochet blankets. Jill has actually finished her lapgan, so I have a photo here from in progress from the day that I was there. And then hopefully I also have a photo of this sort of finished project. She kind of went ham and just like you know, nailed out this blanket. Good job, Jill. This is Editing Kate. I wanted to insert a little bit of a story here with Jill's permission about the process of her crocheting this blanket. So like I said, she did finish it and it all turned out well. But after she finished crocheting her blanket, you can see here she had it laid out and her sweet dog Theo decided to cuddle up on it. You know, she thought, why should I not let my dog cuddle up on this new blanket? But then when she came back, she found, as you can see in the top right image, you know, a sweet little hole that was nibbled into this crochet blanket by sweet Theo, who certainly had no malicious intent, but yeah, definitely chewed a freaking hole into this crochet blanket that Jill just spent many hours crocheting. So Jill did manage to mend the hole. You can see in the bottom right. I think she looked up some stuff online. I'm not sure exactly about her method. Jill, maybe you can talk to us in the comments about your process for mending this hole. But you can see that she did manage to fix the hole. So in the end, everything was, everything was good, no harm done, but maybe some lessons learned there about letting your pets cuddle up on your crafted items, especially unsupervised. I have like a few other projects that I'm working on, so my progress has been a little bit slower. But we just decided to do like a simple granny stripe blanket. So I just thought that was sort of like a really easy, it's a blanket style that I've done before and it's sort of really easy to learn. And so that's what we did. And here is where I am on mine. So I have this sort of gray, a green, a mustard yellow, and I am alternating stripes. What you can see is I had a little bit more of this gray color than the other colors, so I'm increasing the number of stripes that I do in the gray, and then I'm going to decrease on the other side of the halfway point of the blanket. So this is what my granny stripe blanket looks like so far. Let's see if we can get a good look of this in the overhead. All right, so obviously this is just a little section of the blanket, but here's what it looks like. If I just scroll down a ways. So yeah, really enjoying that. I haven't measured it lately, so I'm not entirely sure how much more I have left to go. Let's go back. But this is kind of how big it is right now. I think I'm like close to halfway. So yeah, that's my lap gan that I was crocheting with my friend Jill, who had this lovely, kind idea to crochet these lap gans for the local hospital. So once I'm done mine, we'll figure out how to donate them. Jill, I'm gonna try and finish this soon. so that we can send them in before the winter's over, right? One more non-cross stitch chat. I have a couple sewing projects that I've been working on. I don't do a lot of sewing, but I do have a sewing machine and I've been interested in getting back into that. This is another craft that I used to be quite good at. You know, we had classes in school learning how to sew, and I sewed like a pair of boxer shorts way back then. And my mom was really into or good at sewing, and so after I took that course, I remember doing a few And a couple years ago, I got a sewing machine. The primary motivation for that was to do some fun cross-stitch finishes, like pillows and things like that. But recently, I bought a couple pair of jeans online that were new but highly discounted from Frank and Oak, which is it's like a sustainable Canadian clothing company that I really like to buy clothes from. But the size of jeans that they had were like too small for me. So I ordered them and they were too small. And I was inspired to modify them myself. I remember when I was young getting pants that had been modified in this way where along the side seams there were these patches of different colored corduroy. And so I thought, oh, I like that idea. It's a really easy way to like increase the size of a pair of pants. And I don't know if I wasn't like really into the patchwork idea, but I went to the local fabric store and found some corduroy and just did like a long strip of corduroy. And I'm actually wearing those pants right now. So let me see how well I can show this. So you can see my fancy insulin pump there, but let's look this way. So they're very dark wash jeans, and you can see I've just added a strip of corduroy. This goes all the way down to the side, this sort of dusty pink corduroy. And I've got the same thing on this side of the pants. I'll put in a couple pictures here as well that I took. So that was like fairly easy modification and something that I did in a few hours one day. I've got another pair of jeans that I plan to do. They are sort of light wash. And so I got some like darker, like navy corduroy that I'm going to put on those. These ones are actually a little bit too big now, if I'm honest. So I might also modify these again and like take some of that width out of them. So that's been really fun. And another thing that I have done is over the Christmas holidays, Neil and I decided that our love seat and chair in the living room need to be covered. Lady loves to lay on those furniture items, and we're just starting to see some wear on them. So I wanted to cover them so that we could preserve them. So covers are great because you can toss those in the wash when they get dirty. When we were looking at buying covers, though, they were quite expensive, especially for covers that I was confident were really gonna fit over our furniture, sort of this one size fits all kind of thing. And I just thought, I can do this. I can sew these. I can sew furniture covers. I did a little bit of searching on YouTube for some tips and tricks about how to go about that. The same time that I went to the fabric store to get this corduroy, there was like a huge 50% off sale at my local Fabricville. And so we found an entire bolt of fabric for $30. So that's what I'm going to be using to attempt making some covers for our love seat and chair. And I've already I successfully made a seat cover, the cushion cover for the chair. So I have some footage and or pictures of what that ended up looking like. And I was really, really happy with it. It was snug around the cushion, but not too snug. Yeah, it was perfect. I was worried that it was not going to be snug enough, that it was going to be like wrinkly and messy looking, or that it was going to be too small and I wasn't going to be able to fit the cushion in. But it was great. And I couldn't find zippers long enough for what I wanted, because they kind of have to go around the side of the cushion too. but we had some Velcro, and so I watched a video about how to do a cushion cover with Velcro, and I did it. As I was sewing, especially the top and the bottom of the cushion cover, and having to like go around the edges, I really thought I was messing it up. Like, it felt terrible, and there were several swear words uttered in that process, but it really doesn't look that bad. There's definitely, you know, if you're inspecting it very closely, you can tell that it wasn't like perfectly done or professionally done, but I think overall it looks really good. So I'm proud of that. That project took a little bit longer, but I did complete it in one day. And so yeah, hopefully soon I'll get a chance to keep chipping away at that project and updating you here about that as well. All right, let's get into some cross stitching. So a little bit bittersweet. This is the first video ever on my channel where needs no paint isn't going to be shown. Maybe that's not true, but it's the first video where that is done and I'm not going to show it. But my new full coverage focus is mini African mammals. This is a Heaven and Earth Designs chart, and the art is by Sierra Marchetti. I should have some footage of what this looked like the last time you saw it in my last video. At that point, I was 6.55% complete, and I had stitched 4,942 stitches. Now, here's what it's looking like. Leaving it in the Q-snap because everything is still visible there. Here we go. So this is what it's currently looking like. Right now, we've got 12.06% complete. We've got 9,091 stitches. So that means since my last video, I did 5.51% of the chart. And I stitched 4,149 stitches, which is really interesting to me because after finishing Needs No Paint last year, I didn't want to kind of force myself to do a particular number of stitches every month on my full coverage piece. I just wanted to have a focus on full coverage and work on it however much I wanted. It's funny because 4,000 stitches is approximately how much my goal was per month on Needs No Paint last year, and that's like kind of how much I just did on this one. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, you can see that we've got this little antelope's head, and we've got the start of this beautiful leopard right here, and the giraffe is mostly done. So this is looking really, really great. It's still a super fun project to work on. And yeah, that's what it's looking like. So this is being stitched on a 25 count even weave. I'm stitching 2 strands of thread over 1 fabric thread half cross with the called for DMC. And that's what it looks like so far. So super proud of that. Excited to see how far I can get next month. All right, so the next cross stitch project I worked on a lot this month is my Mirabilia project, Ophelia. Yeah, it's Fancy Lady February, according to many Flosstubers, and so they're working on whatever kinds of fancy lady patterns that they have. This Ophelia piece is kind of my only fancy lady, but I do have a couple Nora Corbett patterns that I would like to work on at some point, but I'm not starting them until I'm done with Ophelia. So I want to make progress and finish Ophelia. And so, yeah, I took the opportunity, since this month was Fancy Lady February, to get some work done on her. So I have some footage of what Ophelia looked like the last time that you saw her. This is a paper chart, so I have no percentages or anything like that, but here is what she's looking like now. So as you can see, I'm working on the top half. Do you need out? I made quite a lot of progress. So there are some empty spaces here within her. Those are all going to be beads, and I'm leaving those until the end. So I've finished all of her hair and all of this. Everything inside here is done. And a lot of these lily pads I have filled out as well. On this side, there's a little bit more lily pad to go. But yeah, this is almost the top half of the pattern complete. Now, the bottom half of the pattern is more stitching because her whole dress just balloons out down there. So I don't think I'm halfway through this project, but it was just a lot of fun getting all of this done because she really is starting to come together and look quite beautiful and quite stunning. So I'm really, really happy with how this is turning out, and looking forward to pulling this pattern out again soon and getting some more stitching done. Soon I'll be moving on to the bottom half of the pattern. That's really exciting. Yeah, so that is my progress on Ophelia. Next up, I want to show you my progress on my Arctic Animals Club from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I only put in 1 day of work on this. It was last night over at Julia and Courtney's place where we were watching the season premiere of Survivor. So it's not very much progress. This is what the project looked like the last time that you saw it. And here is what it's looking like now. So down here is all the same as it would have been the last time you saw it. What I did was just up here in this Aurora Borealis, and I just added some stitching there. I've been practicing on this piece stitching in hand with the sewing method a little bit. I was inspired to try that out by Fibers and Floss Canada, who recently posted a tutorial video on how to do that. This is a great piece for that because it's a 25 count Lugana that I'm stitching 2 strands of thread over 2 strands of thread over 2 fabric threads. And so the fabric is a little bit bigger and easier to see, and I find it easy for me to practice that sewing in hand technique. And so that's been fun, but not without its challenges. Sometimes I'm switching back and forth between like the poke and stab and the sewing method, but yeah, I'm interested in getting better at that. So I'll link that tutorial down below in case you're interested in learning about that if you don't know what the sewing method is or what I'm talking about. And this is a cute piece. I'm feeling quite behind on it. All of this has been released, and I think all of this, like it's very much almost done. So I'm losing steam a little bit on this project, but I do want to finish it. So hopefully I can put some time into it in the coming weeks and months and get it done. It's very cute, and I really like it. And I was saying too to Julia, it's sort of like I feel when I'm not stitching on it, I feel like not as motivated to pull it out. But when I do pull it out, it's really, really fun to stitch, and I enjoy it. So it's not that the pattern isn't fun to stitch, and it's not that it's not super cute and a beautiful pattern. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I just got to get it out and make progress. There's a lot to go. I think maybe that's my problem. All right, another project that I made a little bit of progress on, stitching one night while hanging out with Julia and Courtney. is Abalonia's Apple Tree. So I talked a lot about this project in my last video. And I think I am going to make some adjustments to the colors that I'm using for the apples, but there's lots of other stuff going on in this pattern other than the apples. So lots of other stitching in progress I can make on it in the meantime. First, I would like to show you this super beautiful little project bag that I'm keeping it in. This was made by Julia. This is her first project bag. She made one for herself as well that matches it. The inside is that beautiful contrast fabric up here. And I really love it. I was so touched that she made one of these for me. So now we each have a project bag that was made by the other. So that's really special. So these are cute little turtles. I love it. And so yes, I put Abalonia's Apple Tree in there. I should have some footage of what Abalonia's Apple Tree looked like the last time you saw it. And here is what it's looking like now. So this probably looks quite familiar, quite similar. I think really I've just added in these 3 leaves here. So continuing to make progress on that. Really, really loving this. I am stitching this on a 36 count Panettone linen from Roxy Floss Co. with the Roxy Floss conversion for the most part. I shifted the color of this deep green to the Wiz, and like I mentioned, I'm going to change up the reds for the apple. Either when I'm at Stitch North, I'm going to take a look at the floss, the Roxy Floss, and see if there's another sort of trio of reds that I would prefer to use, and if not, I'll switch to the DMC called for in the pattern itself. But I really love this pattern and I'm enjoying it quite a lot. All right, so I have a new start that I would like to talk about. I decided that I wanted to get started on a new modern folk embroidery piece. I'm a part of Jacob's Patreon, and there is a Zoom call for patrons coming up, and I just thought I can't not be working on a modern folk embroidery piece during the Zoom call. How embarrassing would that be? And I had this pattern, How Doth the Little Busy Bee, a beekeeper's pincushion. I had this basically all kitted up. It's something that I've shown in previous videos as well. Kitted up and ready to go. And so it's something that I wanted to get started before going to Stitch North anyways, because I think it would be a good piece to be stitching there. So I started this up the other day. And here is what it's looking like. The color is okay, although this fabric is quite a lot more beautiful than it's showing up on screen. The fabric is a 36 count Roxy Floss Co. One of a kind that I got at Stitch North last year. And I am stitching this with some Brin and Nettle thread that I also got at Stitch North. It's called Lassie Moggs, and it's this sort of really cool golden mustard color with some vintage rose like pinky variegation in it. And I just, I got a couple strands in there the night that I started it. So stitching with one strand of that thread over 2 fabric threads. And so, yeah, I plan on working on this a little bit during that Zoom call with Jacob and the patrons. And I'm going to bring that as well with me to Stitch North in April. All right, so I think that's all that I have to update you on today. Lots of non-cross-stitch crafts, but also I think some good cross-stitch progress. So hopefully you found something in here that you enjoyed. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you have any questions or comments, please do leave them below. I'm always happy to read and respond to those comments. And I will see you in the next video.